Hi, everyone. I'm Bonnie Vandenberg. I run a virtual parenting program, which is for positive discipline, and it is called Ask Miss Bonnie. And I've been trained by Dr. Jane Nelson 15 years ago, been teaching parenting education for almost 40 years now. So I'm delighted to bring you this next in a series. It's a masterclass called Big Feelings, Coach Them Through. And I added some interesting videos this time just to make sure that I keep it up to date, because this is my third year, just like it's your third year since the pandemic. So as people will join, I will invite them in and I will mute them. And again, thank you to my Patreon subscribers and to all of you who've come over the years. I really appreciate your questions, and I appreciate you just keeping in touch with as your children are 3 years old and 6 years old and 9 years old, because this is when we really need it the most. So with that, I'm going to get started sharing screen and my PowerPoint. And where did it go? Boop. And there we go. Okay. Let me get it started for everybody. Thank you for your patience. Okay, Parenting the Positive Discipline Way, Ask Miss Bonnie. I'm Bonnie Vandenberg. I publish through the Acorn newspaper under the parenting column, Ask Miss Bonnie. I'm certified in positive discipline. I do consulting, and you can reach me through Patreon, Gmail, or my phone. So the principles of positive discipline: all misbehavior is a communication. Connection before correction, making sure that message of love gets through. We and our children do better when we and they feel better. So taking time out to pause. And mistakes are wonderful opportunities to learn about one another and to learn about ourselves, because conflict is inevitable and violence is not. So that's what we're going to have a springboard off. These are what I call the principles, and we studied that the first 4 months of the year. This is May, and so we're going to talk about big feelings, coaching them through. Because these principles are like money in the bank. I promise you, they continue to multiply and pay huge dividends for all the years of your life. It really is the connection and the relationship. So starting again with big feelings, what are big feelings? It's interesting when I think about it. When I started this 3 years ago with the virtual parenting, we really didn't throw in things like happiness, excitement, silliness. But now we can say that big feelings are the entire spectrum of what we feel. So sometimes children are mad, lonely, frustrated. They get violent, confused, disappointed. They get hurt, anxious, scared, sad, jealous for sure. And so the reason that I listed these in particular is because we have to remember that although we are sentient beings with lots and lots of feelings, some feelings are harder than others for parents to deal with, to cope with, and to coach children through with. And the reason is because we parent like we were parented. When our kids have big feelings, we do a variety of different things. And I want you to kind of do a little introspection. I'm going to play a short version, since I like to give you resources, of a Dr. Becky Bailey on coaching children through big feelings. She's got them on anger and sadness and happiness, lots and lots of. But what we know is that we parented like we were parented. We either ignore those feelings, we punish those feelings, we dismiss those feelings, we save the children from those feelings, or we coach those feelings through. With that, I'm going to stop the share and bring up a wonderful video on coaching our children through. Let's see if I can. Here we go. All of us parent and respond to feelings from the models we had when we were growing up. How did your parents deal with anger?
I hate my teacher. I hate my teacher. Yeah. You wouldn't believe what she did today. You would not believe Mom. Look, Mom, I hate her. I hate no,
I'm listening.
everyone. She picks on everyone.
Yeah.
Everyone.
I'm listening, honey. You know what? Could you
You know what she did?
what, honey?
What Marcus? Marcus, do you remember that?
Yeah, I remember, Marcus. Here, take this. Why don't you just here, go ahead. Just start drawing.
What? What? What do you? Whatever.
You don't have to have that, honey. Just give me the dish. Give me the dish. All right, good. Okay.
So this is a wonderful video. It goes on for about 6 minutes, and it gives role playing on what it looks like. And you will have feelings. You will be able to spot what it was that either you grew up with or what you're doing right now, the punishing, the ignoring, the saving, and then the coaching through. So here's the save right here about halfway through. Love this one. And then for those of you who know me well, that was the one that I had to really watch out for. And then we have the coaching our children through. So I'm going to start right here for you, but do take the time to look at it.
My teacher, you would not believe what she did to me today. You wouldn't believe what she did to Marcus.
Yes, and you're going to tell me. Take me there.
Okay, Mom. Okay. Gotta tell you.
Yeah.
Okay. She calls us up in front of the school,
Yeah.
right up in front of the board, and she has us do these problems. Marcus goes up first. You know, of course, everybody laughed. They're always laughing at Marcus. So they walk up there. He laughed, and I'm like, I'm not going. I put my head down. You know what she did? She called on me. Anyway, she calls on me. I go up there. I work the problem.
Yeah.
And right in front of everybody, she said, "Well, you didn't get it right.
Oh.
You're not working hard enough.
Yeah. And you were hoping she would really understand how hard that was for you. You were hoping that she would understand that you were really taking a risk to go up there.
Yeah. I mean, that was scary to walk up in front of everybody.
It is scary.
And you know, math isn't my strong thing.
Yeah. And it would have been so much more helpful if she had been able to really give you that encouragement, that confidence. And yet, you did handle it.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, you did handle it. You got through
it. And nobody laughed. At least Marcus. Okay.
Yeah. So we'll work on that too. We'll work on how you might be helpful to Marcus too. Right now, what might be helpful to you?
I'm going to stop it and stop sharing. I really want to get through the master class for you. I particularly love that one. I study that one, and I study what it is that's particularly empowering for children, how we're giving them the reflective listening back and helping them to solve the problem. And that we can do that with 3-year-olds as well as 13-year-olds. So I'm going to continue with my PowerPoint, lots of good stuff to think about. I do want you, am I sharing screen? Let's make sure, because it does not look like it. Hold on, let's get out of there. Here we go. Let's go back down. Let's get down to sharing the screen again. Here we go. Okay. Right here. Okay. So we parent like our parents parented us, or what we wished we had had. And with those big feelings, we need to really think about having the children be seen. This is Dr. Daniel Siegel. First, acknowledging, are they seen? You really wanted that. You thought you were going to have that. It would have been so much better. Soothe them. Yes, that was hard. That was really hard. And then let them know they're safe. And you got through it. And we're going to breathe through it, etc. Empower them with it. I really like the books that come out by Dr. Daniel Siegel because they really approach what it is that looks like, no drama discipline. Was amazing book by Dr. Daniel Siegel about coaching your children through. So with that, let me continue. Parenting with the calmer brain, deciding if it's urgent and always using that calm voice. A wonderful question that I had right before this master class about what to do, how to give consequences, especially when it's a time when you just want to yell. And I hear, because normal parents get pushed to their limit by children with big feelings, whatever those feelings are. So I really want to encourage you whenever possible to take that moment. In the one case of someone who I talked to today, my suggestion was wake up that couple of minutes early and make that plan and know you're okay, so that when that child does push you to that limit, you're coming in with the calmer brain and using the calmer voice as much as possible. Have realistic expectations. For example, if they're waking you in the middle of the night, it is realistic to expect that children do that, and they will have big feelings around that because they're not really awake and because they're not in their rational brain. That is a realistic parenting expectation. That doesn't mean you're doing something wrong. It means that we come up with a consistent plan for children. So our tantrums, our big screaming, yelling, crying, sad, jealous, all those feelings. I want to just talk a little bit about the left brain and right brain. So the left brain, it's linear, it responds to words, it helps with reason. And we know this because when our children get upset for whatever reason, it almost appears like they black out. I call it an emotional blackout. You might call it, they just had a huge meltdown. Dr. Daniel Siegel calls it, they go offline. Either way, you do not have access to that left brain at that moment. So you cannot expect them to be linear because you did this then, or I said this then. They will not respond to words and they will not respond to reason because now they're in their right brain. They're all emotions and they're all feeling, and they do not have access to their logic. So what do we do with this? We create a safe place until they cool down. You can be that safe place, especially with our younger children. We need to have that calmer voice. You're going to be okay. I'm here to help you through it, and create that safe place with them. So positive timeout ideas. I love positive timeouts. I created one with my son when he was 8, so he wouldn't break any heads like my brother used to do when he was 8 years old. Yes. And I didn't even know about it. So I was really, really glad to hear about positive timeout ideas. It was in his bedroom. He got to choose what went up on the walls, what soft things he could soothe himself with, but also what things he could hit while he was utilizing, getting himself from his right brain to his left brain, getting all that out. There are wonderful books out there to help them soothe. There are sensory items. There are soft things. There are quiet moments. And it doesn't mean that you're rewarding your child. It means that you're helping your child to get back into their left brain so then they can respond to reason and logic again. That's the only time you have a chance to reason it out with them. Positive timeout ideas. So again, we're with Dr. Tina Payne Bryson and Dr. Daniel Siegel. So that whole brain child method for dealing with emotions. This never gets old. I teach it when your child is 1, and you will come back and learn it when your child is 10 years old, because it will still be the same thing, only it will matter more, because we need to connect through conflict. We're always going to have conflict. The second one is called Name It to Tame It. It goes directly from the right brain. You didn't like that. You really thought you would have that. I hear you. Name it to tame it. Engage, don't enrage. I'm here with you. Show me what you wanted. Engaging rather than what do you think you could be doing? That only goes to, as Kerwin Ray says, to reinforce that they're not safe. So engaging, not enraging, helps them go from the unsafe to the safe brain. Sifting through, that means it looks like you're feeling really upset. Are you a little disappointed? Seems like maybe you were a little jealous when. Sifting through those feelings. The fifth one is called Move It or Lose It. And one thing that I strongly suggest is when children are starting to go into that stage, if they're young enough, you can move them outside. If they're not young enough, if they're a little bit old enough, walks, or really just allowing them to have whatever it is, even a dance or however they need to move their body, can really help. So Move It or Lose It is working with brain chemistry and body chemistry to help back in alignment. Many of us do yoga to calm ourselves. So that's working with the same concept. And then the sixth one is really understanding that feelings come and go. Children don't know that. Many adults don't know that feelings come and go, that they won't always be afraid or won't always be jealous. It's good to remember that. I'm going to stop sharing and bring on the next video for you so you can see a classroom situation where it is based on conscious discipline. I will stop the share here. It's based on conscious discipline, which is a model where, let's make sure that I've got it. Okay. Thank you. That emphasizes helping children build emotional literacy. And I think you'll really like it. We're right in the middle of it, and I will only play about a minute of it. But you can see this child is really distraught, and you can see where the teacher is coming down to make sure that he feels safe and that she is within his eyesight. So she is connecting through the conflict. She's moving her body to a safe place because he's pulling in like that. He's not feeling safe at all. Here you go.
Classrooms that I've had, we didn't give them the means to articulate their feelings.
Can you show me how you're feeling right now? Angry, sad, happy, silly, and tired, and worried, surprised, and scared, and thank you. Which one are you feeling right now?
If you don't give them the language that they need, they can't communicate what their needs are. Give them those big words. They're like, oh, I'm not scared. I'm not mad, frustrated. And they know there's nuances to how we feel and what we think. We're always telling them, use your words and not your hands. But what words?
Or I don't like when you grab my hood.
When the kids are able to say,
Love that. So I'll stop it there. Use your words doesn't mean much to children, especially when they're offline or when they can't access their words. They're just getting that flood of cortisol that says my territory's been invaded or I'm not sure what to do. And so the teacher says, tell him you don't like when he grabs your hood. I don't like when you grab my hood. Well done. You can do that with your children too. Practice, practice, practice. So the more you do that with children, the more we find that they can access that in between that stage from being calm to being angry. So they can push that in the middle there. So let me share screen and get back to the PowerPoint, and we will continue to the end. So the power of a hug. Please make sure that that message of love gets through. Hugs are the quickest way to connect through conflict. And it is not a reward. It's an opportunity to realign the body and just take a moment to express that we're both struggling. Let's take a break. Those toddler techniques, those little ones under the age of 4, Dr. Harvey Karp works hard to reduce what he calls child abuse and the jump offs from child abuse. And, you know, he does this very specifically, what he calls understanding toddlerese, those methods of louder, more repetitive and short, because they become deaf with rage. So the clues to the answer, especially for all of us, but especially for toddlers, are they hungry? Are they lonely? Are they tired? And I find that in the middle of the night, thank you for that question again, the middle of the night question, or first thing in the morning question, or when we're just exhausted and we haven't had dinner question, look at this. Are they hungry? Are they lonely? Are they tired? What is kicking them into those big feelings? And go to the hungry, the lonely, the tired. The lonely can be a hug or just sitting quietly together, reading a book. The tired can having a rest. The hungry can eat first. And then you can come back to the feelings. You were feeling really jealous when, and then that child will be much more able to access their left brain than staying in their right brain. Because children aren't being a problem, they're having a hard time. Your parent self-care list, ask for help. You all do. You guys are rock stars. Take a pause when you start to feel yourself boiling over. Make that phone call, whatever you need. Prioritize you on the list as much as possible. When you notice something's not working, think about parent self-care. Balance and rebalance. Maybe it was working before, now things are out of balance. Try to rebalance as much as possible. Making time for the fun stuff, making time to laugh and sleep and hug, and knowing that you as a parent are worth it too, because you deserve to have a good time in parenting. Let's see what this says. Oh, our children need encouragement like a plant needs water. And I have a short video by Gabor Mate. Please look up Gabor Mate and his work on trauma work. But he's come out with some brilliant work lately on parenting. I'm going to stop the share so that I can run it for a moment, and then I will stop this masterclass and come back for Q&A. Okay. So Gabor Mate, a Holocaust survivor, brilliant, and works on attachment and trauma with addiction needs, etc. So this is a 2-minute video. I'm not going to show the whole thing, but I will give you the clue that he talks about the necessity of attachment, and then he talks about the necessity of authenticity, and how when children feel their feelings are being suppressed or are not being able to be said because of the parent doesn't understand or like it, then the child has to choose between attachment and authenticity. And it's absolutely brilliant and not meant to make anybody feel guilty. It's just helping an awareness of what feeds children.
Child is born and child has 2 needs. The first need is for attachment. And attachment is contact, connection, love. Without that, the human child does not survive. Even an avian child doesn't survive. The baby bird has to have an attachment with the parents. The parents have to be attached to the baby. Otherwise, the infant simply does not survive. Mammalians even more so. And more so the human, because we're the least developed, the least mature, with the least developed brains, and the most dependent for the longest period of time of any creature. So our attachment needs are enormous. And they remain important throughout lifetime because we have to have attachments to form societies, social groups, without which we don't survive. So attachment is a huge need. We have to connect, belong, be loved by, and love. That's just a basic human need. But we have another need as well, which is for authenticity. The authenticity is the capacity to know what we feel, to be in touch with our bodies, and to be able to express who we are and manifest who we are in our activities and in our relationships. Now, why is that? Well, think of a human being in the evolutionary period who's not in touch with their body and their gut feelings. How long do they survive out there in the wild? So authenticity is another huge survival need. But what happens to a child where the attachment need is not compatible with the need for authenticity? In other words, if I'm authentic, my parents will reject me.
So I'm going to stop there, friends, because it gets pretty hairy in terms of emotions. And I want you to be able to watch it, and I want you to be able to really enjoy it, but also stay in your left brain here so you can ask questions and process. So thank you so much for joining the masterclass. Big feelings, coach them through. I hope I've provided some insight into what feelings look like, how to coach them through some of the incredible resources out there. And I welcome your questions. So we're going to have our Q&A now. I'm going to stop the recording and ask people to stay on and ask your questions. Thanks so much.